All
I
right,
want to know where we
we're
I want to know where
recording,
we went
Barry.
wrong because there's hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of condos and homes that are $3 and $4 million a piece. I want to know where I went wrong.
Well, you should like move into one of them. I'm sure they're not occupied, right?
No, of course they're occupied.
Yeah.
People here have money. They're not
I just,
spending it with me yet, but they have money.
how did your show went?
It was underwhelming.
Which show did you do, Barry?
San Armand Circle. They're mostly catatonic.
Hello.
The people, all the
Yeah, go to the contact page on the Paragon website.
I don't think Oscar did that well either.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where
I-
you got my number
David.
from, but go to the contact page. Yes.
However, I hung out with Annette and her boyfriend, John.
Well, no,
You know,
it's on Zap.
the woman with the balls.
yeah. Hey Frank,
No, I'm not connected to Paragon. Uh, That's why
Larry has
phone
forgotten to
number on
mute
the
himself.
contact page.
He was
Yeah.
there. He was walking around.
Yeah. All right. These people call me if they have a question about Paragon shows
Why?
because he has my name and phone number on the website,
oh, good luck with that.
Lucky you.
but they can't find, oh, I get business from it, but they can't find the Paragon phone number, which is on the contact page. So I'm constantly telling him to go to the contact page.
They're reading challenged.
Well, or they send me an email. Is it too late to get in the show this weekend?
Or
Make something up.
Not just email, not just reading.
Yeah,
challenge.
send me $500.
That's right. That's right. You could tell him, hey, he'll take your money. He'll fit you in somewhere. Don't worry about it. Just show up.
No, send me the money.
That's right. Well, besides that.
I know a guy.
I know a guy. Yeah, right.
So where'd you say you were this weekend, Barry?
San Armand Circle. Aren't you listening?
Oh, no, somebody called.
Oh, okay.
he was doing something score with Howard Allen.
Hey, did you see they posted this picture? Well, Barry didn't see it. They posted this picture of this painter that has a tree in their booth.
Yeah, that was right by me.
Yeah, and she loves that spot. She does really well there.
Yeah, great.
Wow. Wow.
It's a real tree. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
and it's right in the middle of the booth. It's kind of gnarled.
Right. But it goes at an angle, so it comes out the front of her canopy.
Yeah.
Setup must be a little bit of a challenge.
She requests that spot. She knows what to do.
She's had that spot for 10 years. It's her best show.
Well, so she's mastered the setup, but I'm sure the first time she did it, it was a little difficult. Wrapping your tent around a tree.
Well, actually, because it's in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually set it up, without interference.
Yeah, like the posts at Long's Park.
What kind of tent she has?
A
Who
trim
knows?
line, I think. But do you know what I'm talking about with Long's Park?
No.
Yeah.
Half the booths have posts in the middle of the booth, and they fine you if
Oh,
you
right.
take them out.
I had that. The one time I did it. That's why you need insurance, because when they trip and fall, they can sue you.
Well, your weekend companion has just arrived, Barry.
I see that.
Hello.
Hi, Anna.
Where are you?
Oh,
You.
Well,
Where's your face?
I don't have a,
you need a
That's
light.
perfect.
well, the light is behind me. I don't have a place to sit here in Florida. So unfortunately, you won't see my face when I'm in Florida. So
You get one of those little,
We've seen it before.
you don't need to see it. It's not that exciting.
Oh,
hi,
come
Bonnie.
on.
Oh, Bonnie, I'm not gonna. I can't say this in public, but we have to have a conversation
Why?
because you're not doing it anymore, and you passed it off to the absolutely wrong people to pass it off to.
No, I passed it to the right people.
Wrong. It's not going to be anywhere the same as it ever was. It's over, Bonnie.
Nope, because they have said they're going to keep it the same. Four
Right.
of their board members do the show
Okay.
every year, and they have assured me that they're going to keep it the same.
You mean the price is going to be the same? They're going to ask for their money when you ask for the money. They're going to be very accommodating. This is none of which they don't do at any other show. They ask for the money way in advance. They're going to increase the price. This is what I think. And the reason why I say this is because the reason why your show works is because you've done shows, so it's very artist oriented.
Right.
Those two have no concept of what shows are really like. It's just they're insulated in their own little world, and they just do it a certain way. Now, I'm saying this, and I hope
what
it
do you-
stays the same. But
What do you mean those two?
Nicole and the other one,
Oh, okay. And Karen?
Karen, the ones that make all decisions and run it and put it together.
Yeah. I trust them to do what they have said.
I'd get
But-
it in writing in some sort of contract so that they
Oh.
don't leave up to the contract, you get it back.
Well,
Even though you don't want it back, but
yeah. The interesting thing is they're of our options. They are one of the only people I would trust with it because other options are people that I know are going to come in and change everything. The booth fee will double and the show size will double and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I think that's going to happen.
We'll see.
Well, it's a one-day show, though.
It's 6 hours.
Yeah, you can't double the booth fee for a one-day show.
No, but Bonnie keeps it really low because she knows artists. It's very artist oriented. It's based on somebody from the inside that knows what's going on. It's very appreciative. I'm very appreciative of it.
Thank you, Barry.
Well,
But it's very, I run it,
Barry,
and
we
I
gotta
would
add that.
want the show. As far as very few rules and, low booth fee. I think I've been running it for like 15 years and we've raised the booth fee up, maybe 20, no, I think $30 in that 15 years.
You know what? Their overhead for their operation is much higher than yours, and they're going to say, "Well, we need to raise it because we can't break even." That'll be the first thing they say.
Well, the good news is the best way to raise money for that show is to get more people in the door. And that's what we've always said.
Yeah, so they'll charge $10 instead of $5.
Well, and we are the cheapest thing that happens at the Expo Center. They can raise the fee to get in and it wouldn't hurt the show. I
really.
just, yeah. Nobody charges as little as we do.
I mean, the vibe is great. Between the artists and between all the artists among, excuse me, among themselves, and between the patrons and among themselves, and between the artists and patrons, it's one big happy family.
Yeah, it really is.
It's it's reflective of your personality.
Oh, thank you.
I'm serious. You know,
I appreciate that.
you know,
So Bonnie, how
I
much money giving you?
say what, Oscar?
How much money you paying him or he's giving you to be so nice to you?
No. Listen, I'm an honest character, Oscar. I tell it like it is. I'm not afraid to criticize somebody. I'm not afraid to be, uh, to have, say praise, and I'm not afraid to say I'm wrong. So let me say next year I'm wrong. I might say, oh, I decided to do Gasparilla, but we'll see.
Well,
Uh,
I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
Um, I've done everything I can think of to ensure that you're wrong.
Okay.
So fingers crossed.
My feelings, because I've done guild shows, different guild shows,
Yep,
actually, that in Birmingham, and they know how to actually the mechanics of setting it up and putting a show together, but
right.
the other part, the soul part, the is is always missing, it seems to me.
Well, they know how I feel about it. They know that this is my baby and that I'm very
Okay.
territorial.
See,
That's not
I don't I don't think they do know, and the only reason that why they would know is if they were around you. How would you
well,
know that?
I've told them.
Yeah,
And
big deal.
plus they will be at the show on
Yeah,
both setup day and the day of the show, and they will see how it needs to be run.
you
That
know,
it's different than a normal show.
I read the part about they're going to be there to learn. That's that scared me. Too bad
Yeah,
somebody that does the show wouldn't take it over, who knows, you know.
yep. I agree.
you see, Barry, you missed your boat.
Which boat?
Well, it doesn't pay anything. I mean, I'd have to move to Grand Rapids. It would have to be like part of the income. I would do it, but well, actually, I'm the oldest one here, aren't I? So,
Well,
Yeah,
if it hadn't been for my head blowing, I would still do it. But
uh-huh.
it's too hard with
What about Michael? Doesn't he?
he can't do it without me.
I love
Well,
it. I love it.
but I handle all the, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's in charge of things like stamps on postcards and
Uh-huh.
finding where to get the pizza.
Cool.
Those are important.
Yes, it's going to take him 6 weeks to figure out the pizza. So I'm sorry. I love him dearly. So
So, Barry, you ready for Myers?
Am I ready for it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you?
I don't know. It might rain. My show might be rain out.
Where's
what?
that?
Boca.
Well, if it rains, no, it doesn't rain. It rains like I'm looking up the weather.
it rains part of every day.
Well, we haven't seen any rain yet.
This weekend we listen. Boca is going to rain all weekend long.
Let's see. Let's see the forecast for. Oh no!
Oh no.
Hello?
It says, okay, Friday will be nice. Of course, the show isn't Friday. Saturday will be windy, but 76, and Sunday it shows a thunderstorm.
Okay,
And I
now,
thought,
number one, Florida, the weather changes on a dime.
I know.
And number two, it's still too far out for either of your shows.
I'm counting on you, Bonnie.
Okay.
That's what I've been telling to my friends. I hope they change the weather change between now and then. Monday looks beautiful, so I'm hoping that Monday gets pushed into Sunday, and then I'll be fine with that.
There you go.
Well, usually it's, because there was one extra game. They added a game in the NFL, so it's pushed back. So it's usually Super Bowl Sunday, so it ends at 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock. I mean, it just dies off. So the forecast is for it to start raining around noon. So hey, it just fits.
Well, wait, isn't Super Bowl on the 12th?
Yeah, 2 weeks from
yeah,
now.
but it's usually this weekend. It used to be this weekend, but there's one extra game, so everything got pushed back a week.
Right. So that means that you don't have to compete.
Yeah, but if it rains, it's going to feel just like Super Bowl
Oh.
Sunday. That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you now. Okay.
I don't care.
Well, sometimes rain could actually be okay. You only get the serious people out. I mean, depending, but unless it's a major storm.
It's Fort Myers. It's really, 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 really old people with poodles and strollers.
Oh.
And
okay.
And then there's that one poodle, full-grown poodle that gets all painted up. And then there's the Jesus guy.
There you go.
The Jesus guy might not show up.
He's in Chicago.
Oh, that's fine with me.
So Barry, when are you headed down?
He's there.
I'm leaving right after Coconut Grove.
Oh, but you're already in Florida?
Yeah, I did St. Armand's Circle.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I missed that.
I'm sitting in my van and I got on and I'm doing this.
Excellent. So how was St. Armand's?
So
It was underwhelming. Let Annette tell you. How was St. Armand's?
Well, it was better for me than Boca was, but everyone around me that's been there multiple years said this year was not as good as last year. So
yeah, I did half of what I did last year.
Yeah, that's kind of what everybody said, I think.
Any guess why?
They were, I don't know, they're catatonic. No reason. There wasn't a reason. On Saturday there was a lot of interest. People came around and they weren't making they weren't pulling the trigger. They would say, well, I'll think about it. I mean, I had a lot of I'll be back. Nobody came back, but I mean more than usual. So that at least that's with me. And then I talked to other people and they'd go, well, we hardly sold anything. And usually that's a really good show. So I don't know. Some people did well.
I mean, could it be the economy? That's what I'm wondering.
No, those people
No.
have listen, they live in $3 and $4 million condos and they're everywhere. You can't live in that area without having more money than all of us put together times 10.
But sometimes it's not necessarily about the money, like in that, I mean, I don't know. There's also the psychological factors, and I don't know. I'm just kind
It
of.
It doesn't touch them. They don't care. They're all Republicans anyway.
Oh.
So Barry, you were saying that you expected Florida to be gangbusters this year.
I did. I still do. That's why I'm not really upset, because I'll make up for it at Coconut Grove. I expect to come back with nothing.
Okay.
This weekend will be interesting because there were hurricanes around the area. So if they got their money, their insurance money, they'll be out spending. So we'll see.
Hey, Oscar, where were you?
I was doing a show with Patty, and if you want to know my honest review about the show, Larry had to stop recording.
Oh.
I know. I
Hey,
said
I
things I
stopped.
shouldn't have said it also.
That's the only thing I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay,
I'm with you,
Larry,
Oscar.
push the button off.
No,
Well, I'd
You-
like
I
to
mean,
hear.
what's the point of this if it's not honest?
No, she called me this morning. So
Patty did?
yeah,
Why?
she told me that she's getting a lot, she's losing artists, and she's getting a lot of new people, and the new people are complaining too much in general, which was
Complaining about
Uh,
what? Complaining about what?
lack of sales. Like a one lady was in $0 for the whole weekend.
Hmm.
She
Were there
was
Well,
people?
that,
every show has that. Even Cherry Creek has zeros.
Yeah.
no, but she was complaining that the artist was complaining. I don't want to say my experience. The artist was complaining that we were in the park, that the park ground was dirty, that she's selling purses super expensive and they shouldn't be in this kind of environment. The her shoes, honestly, they look, when she have keys for sandals, and whatever you can see the skin was covered in black mud. So she got a point.
I didn't think
The-
St. Armand's Circle was particularly clean.
yeah, but you have to wait for this. The porta potties didn't get cleaned the entire weekend.
Oh no.
Oh,
Ooh.
That's major.
Ooh.
That is
that
a major thing.
that's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, but who did she blame for that?
Biden.
Oh, geez.
Go down there with a broom and dustpan or what?
It was there was a lot of buy and sell. There was the guy with the furniture that does the mirrors at the show.
Jeff
There was,
Nelson.
Oh,
Hudson,
Hudson Inlay.
yeah, and there was a guy um selling metal cutouts. There was a guy selling driftwood. I literally mean driftwoods.
Oh yeah. Let's sing to a new love.
So
at a Hot Works show.
yeah. So I was in the park. Mark McKinnon was in the park. There was a 4 photographers in the park that we usually do all the big shows, and we always looking at each other what we're doing in here. But we each one of us pull it out at the last minute, but it was not pretty. It died like at the people. They got the three girls that got so negative that I didn't even wanted to walk to even say hi to them anymore or be even civilized to them. I just wanted to stay in next to my booth and just talking to my neighbor, lean in front of that she was in front of me. But we both sit down in the corner and we didn't we only talk to each other and forget about everybody else around because it was I think that they have better attitude. They probably would save the show, but they were
Probably not.
no. I think that if you keep a good attitude, you could have saved the show. But it was
Really?
That's
yeah,
hard
it's
to
like
be. That's hard to be around when you're trying to have a good attitude because what else are you going to do but try?
So wait a
Right.
minute, Oscar. What's your excuse? Because you had a good attitude, but you didn't do that well. So that refutes what you just
Well,
said.
It doesn't
I
because
did
what's the point of being there if you're going to just be negative? You're there. You don't know what's going to happen. It's not over
Make
till
the
it's
best
over.
of it.
That's right.
I told Pat that for me, was the only thing that I got control is apply to the show, get into the show, put my booth up, and from there on it's pure luck. And the people that bought from me are people that saw me in the Boca Museum show last year, and they bought big pieces. So
Good. So
You know-
they're basically, last year you met them, this year they bought, which is
Yep.
nice.
so
Good deal.
and that's from
Too
the
many shows. Too many shows in the same area.
well, that's basically when Boca Museum rolls over, there would have been 4 shows in 5 weeks in the same area. And I mean, Patty puts the show literally where the Boca Museum show starts. So
Hey.
it's insane to me, but
So-
that's normal.
This is rhetorical, but all her shows are places where other people have shows. What's the point of that? Go somewhere else, you
Look
know?
who she learned from.
Oh, Howard.
Of
Howard,
course.
yeah.
Well, they all are following Howard's model. He's the one. He's actually not the first one. The first one was what's his name from New York? I
Paragon?
can't think of his name.
Rothbard.
Richard Rothbard was the first one
Right.
that did shows next to successful shows, you know, and then
But
and
he's
then
out.
Howard was the only one. And when Howard was the only one, it was okay. But now you have all these other people doing it, and they're just too many of these events, and they're
Yeah.
not special anymore.
But Richard's model, he's outlived the good shows.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, maybe he had something to do with that, you know? I don't know. Does he even have shows anymore?
Yeah,
He doesn't need to do this.
He
I
does?
don't understand why he does it.
yeah, he still has shows. I'm on his mailing list.
Yeah.
Huh,
Yeah.
I haven't seen or heard about his shows in years.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, that's because his shows don't have great reputations as far as sales.
Yeah.
No, they just don't. His shows are beautiful. He gets the best artists in the country. But he
I
needs to
did
get
some.
buyers.
Yeah.
But sales are kind of the clinching, selling point
Yeah,
for
of
any
course.
artist.
For us.
It's the reason we do this.
For us.
He carried my work in his gallery. He has a
For how
very
long?
wife.
How long?
For how long?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
My Richard Rothbard gallery experience was he bought a ton of work. He sold it all right away, except for a couple pieces, and then kept telling me he couldn't sell it. Never ordered again. But he sold it all immediately. I never understood that.
Yeah.
And I like Richard, I like him. A lot of people don't like him. I like him.
What was his gallery? Was it the same name?
New York City. It was American.
American
I
Craft.
forget what's the name.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've heard of it. Probably been into it.
Some-
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to put a show in Pittsburgh, but it never happened.
I did one. He brought a show to Toledo.
Yeah.
I was there.
I was there too.
I did a workshop there at the back of the show at night when it ended.
Is that the one where he paid Connie Metler to be kind of the front person to get people to do the show?
Well, that's why he was going to hire me to work with him for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, great.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it with Connie, if I'm not mistaken.
His overhead on that, I think it was 7th Avenue, and it was near
The Apple
near
Store.
the MoMA.
55th
The overhead was
Street.
outrageous. He had to sell a ton of work, which he did.
Well, wasn't the gallery more his wife's baby?
I don't know.
She was the one that bought from me.
The last
But
time I saw them, she wanted to buy from me also, and I never pursued it. You know, again, after the first time, I was at Longs Park. They came by Longs Park. By one time I did Longs Park. They came by and he didn't want the work. She said, get a hold of me. I want the work. So, but I never did it.
Longs
Uh,
Park is supposed to be a good show.
Oh, it's
It could
lovely,
be.
lovely show.
It
Which
used
one?
to be
Long Park?
better when they advertised in Washington and Philly and New York.
Mhm.
Well, that was a while ago. It went down, and then they went back to some yeah, they have brought it back. I love the show.
that goes on Labor Weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very artist friendly, and my sales are extremely good there.
Well, hopefully I'll be doing art in the Pearl that weekend.
And hopefully I will be too.
Yeah,
So,
Arts Beats and Eats used to be the same weekend. I don't know if it still is.
Which one?
Arts Beats and Eats.
In Royal Oak, Michigan.
Well,
Got it.
yeah,
You don't want to do that.
not anymore.
Allison, regarding to the economy, I'm going to tell you the shows that was supposed to my iffy shows went iffy. The shows that was supposed to be good, they weren't good.
They
So
weren't good, did you
they
say?
were so it's
Wait,
been
you think you
the shows
I'm
that
sorry. Go ahead.
the shows that I have that I was using like a fillers,
Mm-hmm.
they act like fillers.
Okay.
You like at the show with Patty, I make good money for a show that I consider a filler.
Mm-hmm.
The bare minimum that I want to do in a show.
Right.
The shows that Bonita won, Naples Invitation, those went really well. So
Okay.
I think that the show has good reputation.
Mm-hmm.
That you should do well. The shows that are borderlines, those are the shows you're not going to do well.
Got it. Well, interestingly, my work was at an exhibition, like a gallery exhibition in West Palm Beach. And the pieces that sold, my work is oxidized silver and gold, but the pieces that sold were bright. They didn't sell any oxidized pieces from any jeweler there, which is just an interesting kind of.
It's
And they sold.
It's Florida.
Well,
They-
but it's the East Coast of Florida. I hear that the West Coast is very different. I mean, I don't know
Well,
Florida well, but
The West Coast of Florida is like all Midwestern
right.
people. East Coast of Florida, they like more glitz.
North.
Bling.
They would not be big on, well, I never found them to be big on oxidized things.
Right. So now my work is going to a gallery in on the West Coast in Bradenton near Sarasota.
Bradenton?
So
Bradenton.
yeah. So I'll be curious if anything sells. I mean, it would be nice, and the percentage is 65% the artist, because it's a anyway, the Florida Guild is hosting it, so that's really nice. But I just I don't necessarily expect things to sell at gallery exhibitions, but they did sell quite a bit in different price points in West Palm Beach, just not the and there was a lot of alternative material types of stuff, and so it seems like it held true to, like, more blingy. Not that anything, it's not like diamond and gold jewelry at all, but I'm glad they made sales. And it's just interesting to note also if I ever, apply to a show in Florida that, I mean, this is just a very small experiment, but
Take your gold.
yeah.
Bradenton isn't like the other parts of Florida, even on the West Coast. It's 20 miles north of Sarasota, and it's now I'm going to use this term, but it's only relative to Sarasota, which has more millionaires than anybody, and then you go 40 miles south of that, and it's all billionaires. That's Naples.
Oh, got it.
Bradenton is a lesser. The people have less money. Bradenton,
Right.
so
Yeah.
now they've been, but people have been moving that way because Florida's getting all this influx of people. So and they have been. There was new construction, so I haven't been there in a couple of years, so I don't know exactly what it looks like, but it's not. You wouldn't judge Bradenton like you judge the rest of Florida, I think, or where the
What
shows are.
like most of the people that they're native to Florida, they used to live in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. They're moving out and they're moving in that direction to Baca Ranch, north from Tampa, because it's more affordable.
Got it.
So all the places are getting unaffordable for most people.
Well,
It's
even on
because-
on the other side, Port St. Lucie, Stewart, they've been moving up that coast too for a long time.
Huh. Interesting.
because it's becoming California. The thing that they don't know it yet, but it's becoming California.
Not politically.
Not politically.
No. You know what? I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna stay gay.
Don't say that. You're going to get in trouble. I don't want to go and bail you and Eric out. Already.
I have
So
a question about price tags. Do you guys think it's important to have price tags on your art so people can see it? I have all these
Yes.
little things.
Yes.
Yes.
Because Howard Allen came and told me that I was killing my sales by having that I need to have a conversation, but I think there's too many.
Now,
Okay, Annette, you're pissing me
I
off because I already told you this.
I know you told me, but I want to hear other people's opinions.
All right. I have had people come into my booth and the first thing they say is, thank you so much for having prices. And
Yep.
I've overheard conversations in other booths, like this was particularly at the local artist market. And the woman said, I liked the work, but I had no idea how much it was. That's a big thing here, wherever you go, like even at the farmer's market for produce, there's no prices on everything. And, but yeah, I have little price tags that are next to my jewelry. Some people don't know their price tags because there's no dollar signs, but they're on little plastic round discs printed on laser jet labels, and then I cut them out and put them on there. So I have all the prices there. And if somebody doesn't know what the number is, I tell them they're the prices, or I'm very upfront about pricing in general. People don't have their glasses on. I'll give them a range also. I know people who want the conversation, so it's kind of I think it's worth trying having prices.
I mean, I like it, but he was basically saying, you're not, you have a better chance to sell it if they have to ask you. Like, you're supposed to have that conversation to where they relate to you. But I don't know at art fairs, it seems like there's a lot of people there, and I don't know, you can't really have that with everyone. I feel like,
Right. You can't, but
He's wrong.
yeah,
there's things I don't buy at all or don't imply. I hate asking about prices.
it's not that he's wrong. He's not looking at the right artwork. There are some people that have like a half a dozen really large pieces in their booth, and that's it. And then they don't need prices because they talk to their customers.
right.
And then
It isn't a question of whether he's right or wrong. It's that he doesn't sell work, so he wouldn't know. You don't know until you do it yourself.
Well, I mean, how much his booth cost,
It's
right?
No,
You
no,
don't have to
you
ask.
don't have the experience. It's the experience of being in the booth and selling and having a reaction. If somebody says, what's like, I had I forgot to put price on a couple pieces, and of course, the one piece the person wanted to know about, and
Is the one that didn't have the
she looked at
price.
me like, are you, are you just, have you increased your price? It was almost like not trusting. So of
Yes.
course, and it was the only
Yes.
piece.
I
Uh,
tend to not trust the person. When I have to ask, I quite often get the feeling that I'm being sized up or down.
Right, they're looking at
Yeah.
your shoes
How
first.
much do you think she can afford?
Right.
Or how much is it worth for her?
Yeah,
And I
right.
hate that feeling.
You
but I
can't
don't
do
even
that.
like,
Put it-
I don't like asking prices. So here
Oh,
at downtown, they have the native people on their blankets. They're selling their wares. They have badges, so they're official. And not one person has prices. And this one guy had this little, it was beautiful. It was like a little piece of pottery, but it was made out of sterling silver, a little vessel with a lid that came off. And
Mhm.
while I wasn't in the market to buy, I had no idea if that thing was $150 or $1,200. I had no idea, and I didn't ask.
yeah.
But let me just give you 2 point of view. Because I do, depending on the show, I would take prices out. If people, I think the customers in certain area know how much something should cost, and they would.
I disagree because I make jewelry that is not necessarily all, blingy
But
materials. So
in my medium, I think that people know how much the price range of what it is going to be for everything. Now, personally, from what I learned in time, especially because of my accent and some of the people that are used to hear Hispanic people talking, the more I put outside that people less have to ask me stupid questions, the better it is. So,
all right, there's a good answer.
How many
so
people will walk out of your booth, not ask the question, not ask the price, that could easily afford it and would have bought it if the price had been there?
Yep.
Or assuming
Yep.
they couldn't afford it.
Good question.
Or what if you're talking to somebody else?
yeah, that's
Yep.
all you have to keep in mind. So you have to make it. What I learned in time is like if it's a busy show, the more information you have in there, they have to ask you less questions, the better it is. I
Hey,
have question for the metal prints. I got a biography of mine in there. I got the prices for all the sizes in there that I offer. I got a story about pointing each piece. I got the price in yellow for each piece so people can see it and don't ask me stupid questions. And most of the time, it's like if I don't have the price tag, I say, I lost the tag for that, but it's the same size as this one, so that's the same price as that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
love
right.
the shows where people would be waiting online, holding your pieces, waiting to pay you.
Yeah.
That would be a dream.
And that could never happen if you don't have prices on everything.
Yep.
Oscar, I'm gonna make a comment here, and I hear artists say this all the time. All the time. And there's a Facebook group, and I got so mad I was in it for a while. They aren't stupid questions. They're stupid to us because we have 20 people, 50 people, 100 people a day ask us those questions. But to that person that doesn't know us, doesn't know our work, it's not a stupid question to that person. And once I adopted that attitude that person honestly doesn't know and is asking because they're interested, it made a difference in how I treat people, and it made a difference in my booth.
I just referring to me as a stupid question, but I know that they're asking because they need to know, and you don't have no idea how many times in a day I need to explain how metal prints are done, and I answering
Bruce
that
Baker, go ahead. Sorry.
like
You
10,
probably have
20.
to explain it about as many times as I have to explain what a carbon pigment ink print is.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So, and I think there's this lack of knowledge of
No,
people.
Actually, excuse me for 1 sec. Bruce Baker says when people ask questions, it doesn't matter what the questions are, they're giving you the permission to sell to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I see it as an opportunity to start a conversation with that person about my work. And, you know, even if it's the 900th time that day that somebody's asked me that question, it's an opportunity. They want to talk to me. They want information from me. It's an opportunity to sell them.
You know, and this weekend when I was talking to the lady in Boca Raton, another lady, a couple came in, and because I have a good relationship, talk with the other client, they came back and bought my pieces, and they was because I already explained to they was overhearing what I was saying to the other person, and that's something that I learned from Cliff Henry. Even if you have to explain and talk out loud when you're talking what you're doing, because the other people around might be listening at the same time, so you kill two birds in one. Even if it's sound idiotic, you still have to answer the question and keep a positive attitude. The one thing I'm going to tell you from this,
So how are metal prints made?
oh, it's just reverse print and film, and then you fuse it to the metal with heat and pressure, and then
Do
you
you
put the.
have that statement hanging in your booth?
Yep,
Okay.
more in more detail. Like
Hey, there are no stupid questions.
But
Only,
Well,
only
there
stupid
there
answers.
is one. Wait, there is one that really kind of infuriated me. You know, have a whole display. Do you have more in your studio? And
Not when
Well-
I do a show.
Yeah,
My stupid question is, and I actually got this a couple times, and I was well behaved. Do you do all this?
Yeah.
When I if
I
I was
get that.
being-
I get that. Do you design it? Do you make it? Like, they don't put the two together. And what I do is I show them my hands.
yeah, I say I do everything. I'm a dinosaur.
people honestly don't understand what we do. And,
Yeah.
you know, we see it as, you know, and Oscar, one of the things it took me a couple shows to get it out of my head was to stop viewing those as stupid questions and considering them as stupid questions, even though I understood they were important, and started seeing them as an opportunity. People don't know what we do. And
What if they ask you if you get your prints made at Costco's?
they usually don't get that far because all my stuff and everything says I make my own prints, you know?
No,
You go,
I actually had somebody ask me that once, and he says, well, I mean, Costco's uses the best materials.
you go,
Yeah.
shh, don't tell anybody.
But
That's
then
my
you see,
secret.
But then you see the photographers in the back of their booths taking prints out of Costco's bags.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's pretty common.
You got to put it in something, and it's recycling. You're being eco-friendly.
Well, you
No,
just picked
or-
it up.
Barry, your
Costco's-
process is a lot more complicated than photography. I mean,
I know.
I totally understand why people ask you questions about it.
You know, the question that I get the most is
Magic.
I don't want to say stupid question. It's just telling you that it's question that a stupid question is, to me, it's like a question that gets repeated over and over and over to the day. I don't treat people like they're stupid, but the question that I get a lot is, can you make this print? If I give you my file, can you print this in metal for me? And I just tell I don't know how it looks. I don't know how it's supposed to look. You can Google metal print and you will find a bunch of labs that can do it for you. The only thing that you have to find out is a lab that does sublimation process, not printing straight into the metal. And sometimes the lab that I use, I give it to them. I don't have a problem with that.
It's sort of like asking going to a textile person at a show and asking if they could hem your pants that you bought, you know, online for $6.
Hey, I never thought of that.
So
That'd
this
be
is
great.
what I have. It shows the basic process of my hollow forms. And if people don't know what I'm talking about, they could just see, and they could touch, kids can touch this too, and just see how I make a pod. And it's enough that they at least get it to a certain degree. But if you know, not everyone can show, you know, what you're doing, but that's something for me that helps break the ice. Anyway, so if there's anything you could show that they could touch, it at least, you know, might, I mean, we're not there to have a class with them, but it might at least give them enough where they could say, okay. With photography, I'm not sure how you would do that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I want to give people the name of the lab, they sometimes they really appreciate it. You know, other people don't, but you know, but you know, I don't know about you, Kurt, but it's like when they walk around in your booth with the camera in their shoulder, and they're flashing it around like a big shot, and you're looking at them and going like, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him, and you know, I did this little 1-day show. Actually, it was an evening. It was a Thursday. They called it Thursday something. I don't know. Set up in a little building in a local park, and met a photographer with a long history of working with the aircraft companies in this area. Really great guy to talk to. So, you know, when they walk in with a camera, and I met a guy whose uncle runs lights, as in Leica lights. You know, I just talk to them, you know, if they're obnoxious, I kind of get obnoxious back. But I don't know. There's one of the reasons I do the prints that I do and do what I do in photography is because very few other people do it.
Yeah.
And so you know, and one of the things I'm getting ready to do is start doing classes on it. So when people come in and want to talk about it, as long as it's not disrupting sales, yeah, I'll talk to them. You know, because maybe they may not buy a print from me, but maybe they'll take a class from me.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Hey, I want to say this before we go on. The most fun I had all the weekend was going out to dinner with Annette and John. I had a ball.
And that's not what he told me.
Did that, Annette? Ask her.
You mean Annette that's in
You know.
silhouette?
Well, John's like, will
Yeah.
give Barry a run for it when they're talking, because John's a talker. So, you know, between the two of them, it's more lively. I don't talk that much, but they both.
John.
That's,
I asked John if he had adult ADD.
yes, he does. OCD, ADD, all of that.
Don't most artists?
He's not an artist. Just my,
And
He was
no,
along for the ride.
what do they call them? Your helpers? Someone had a really cute name. At one of the-
Brody.
No, it was
Brody.
something.
My
something-
husband
it was
says
like-
he's the roadie.
It was kind of like Pool Boy, but not Pool Boy. It was something like that, though. I was like,
Let's see.
Annette, hey Annette, I gave him some advice, not to tell you what to do. I gave him some, like, you know, things you don't do. Plus, I had to chastise him once because I was talking to a customer and he's standing behind me and he's talking also. He's entering into the thing. So I had to tell him what art fair etiquette, that you know, if you're making a sale or you're talking to somebody, don't interrupt. Leave the booth, you know. So
and
I
don't
got a
even
kick
say,
out of
don't
that.
even, and don't even say goodbye. Just disappear.
Of
Just
course.
back up slowly out of the booth.
Yeah.
My wife
yeah.
refers to herself as a booth bitch sometimes.
oh, there you go. That's what it is. Only, what is
Booth
it for a
bitch.
guy? Yeah.
That's a new one. I haven't
Maybe it
heard
is
that one
called
before.
Booth Bitch.
I think she got that from Brian Richards, Ella's husband.
Really?
It was a line in Sex in the City also. I mean, I don't think that was original, but
Yeah.
Well, Annette, how did your balls and display and everything, how are they going over?
Well, everybody loves the display. I mean, people comment on it, you know, how they love, you know, how the booth looks and all that. And mostly people just come in, you know, kind of with their mouths open because they've never seen it before. And they're
Yep.
just like a kid in a candy store, like, oh my gosh. And, you know, they don't know what to say. So it's interesting, you know, most people, you know, they'll be smiling and yeah, so everybody really loves it. And all the artists, you know, they My neighbors, they all thought it was really cool. So yeah, I wish there were a prize for like, prettiest booth or most, I
They
don't know.
have, some
Oh,
shows have
Some
that.
shows,
shows
some
do that.
shows have it.
yes,
You.
those do offer that.
Yeah.
Well,
And they
So-
have an
So-
artist award where the artists pick another artist.
Yeah.
I think you need to give your advisors a cut of that of your sales for a while.
You mean a cut
So-
of the compliments?
So Annette, and Annette, people come in and they're oohing and eyeing, and then how do you engage them with it?
Well, I'm not really the best at that, but I mean, sometimes I'll say, like, which ones are you drawn to the most? And then I don't ever get a response from that because they don't know what to say.
How about saying, would you like to know how it's done?
I
Well, I
wouldn't do that.
usually tell them what they are because everyone thinks they're ceramic, and they don't want to. They're afraid to touch them. But then some people will just like poke them through, and they're not really. You can't just like. I mean, they're not like cemented in. They're just all loose. So, it's
Can you tell them that they're interchangeable?
Oh yeah, I do. And then they get really excited.
Yeah.
They really like the idea, but it really creates kind of chaos because they'll start picking apart the sculptures. And
Oh,
so I had to start telling people I would make them for them if they wanted a certain way.
Oh no, you're asking
For
for
an
trouble.
additional charge, because one lady, she wanted black and white, which I have no black and just white with the black. And so I am going to ship it to her. But yeah, they really like the idea of changing them around. So
I would think.
To answer your question, just sell your personality. Just be yourself and have fun.
there's also there's Bruce Baker's How to Be a Dynamic Craft Salesperson, and it's really I mean, I used to listen to it all the time starting out, and there are things there that but the way he puts it, I just find it a useful tool. I don't know if I'm sure some of you have listened to it.
I think I was looking for his stuff and I couldn't, like, it's not in print, like his books anymore. I don't know, something like it wasn't around. So I
Well,
don't
they're
know.
like 30 years old or something.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to email me, I will send you a link to it because I think I have it in some form.
Okay.
I think his
All right.
website is B Baker Inc.
Yeah, I have the sheet that, I copied it down what you had on your website and I was looking at it. I don't remember if I saw a video. I was looking, I was hoping to like get his book or something, but I couldn't find it.
Well, I have the cassette tape.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alice, just age yourself.
Yep. But I did find listening to it was kind of useful, and then we would always listen on the way to shows and then have a discussion about it, and things like don't ask closed-ended questions where people could just say yes or no. If somebody asks a question that you think is a stupid question, instead of answering that, like if they say how long does it take you to make each one, instead you could just go into your process as opposed to answering that question very specifically. Because like I know a lot of people ask, how long does it take to make? And so, I have a bracelet that might take 10 months where earrings might take a couple hours. So I just sort of talk about it as a whole rather than answering that exact question.
Here's a better way to answer that question, Allison.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, how long did, if I was in your position and somebody asked me how long it took to make that, I would tell them, how many years have you been doing jewelry?
Well, I've been officially in business for almost 28 years. So,
okay.
But
So
I don't, that answer won't work for me though. I would sound hostile saying that.
I get the questions I get asked are film and digital, less now, but my response was, you tell me. I turn it around and ask them that question.
That's a good I think that's a good thing to do. Yeah.
How long do you think it took me? All of that. So yeah.
That's a good. But as far as people like asking questions that want to take classes, if they get too involved, I'll say sign up for my classes email list and then try to move on from there because I'm not there to teach them.
But the best answer to those questions most of the time when people start asking you about the piece, I turn around and say what you like about the piece.
It's a nice response.
What you like about it, and they start telling you what they like about it, and most of the time buy it. Because
but if you ask them how long they think it took, you're staying on the subject, and you have a chance to if nothing else, kind of educate them about being an artist and that this stuff doesn't happen overnight, and that it only took me 15 minutes to do this. Well, Friday I was at my doctor's, and hand doctor got injections, and he was shoving a needle in there and poking around blind, trying get into the joint, and I basically said, you make this look easy, but I also understand that you have years of experience behind you to make it look easy. And so I kind of take that whole tack when people ask about time involved and things like that. I see it as an opportunity to somehow bring my experience into it. I've been doing this for a long time.
That reminds me of a question that
I like that.
When I do the installations, like a doctor told me, I'm a doctor, it would take me a whole day long to do this. And I turn around and say, when you do an operation, it takes you less time than the first time you ever did it, right? And I say, yeah, so just think about it. So.
Yeah, when people ask about how long it takes to do something, I kind of see it as an opportunity to let them know that, or to turn it. I'm sorry, Gray's causing a problem. I see it as an opportunity to kind of bring my experience into it and get away from people are asking that because they want to put a value on it based on how much time you have invested in it.
Correct.
So the worst thing you can do is tell them, it didn't take you very long. So, I see it as a chance to bring in my experience and say, well, I've been doing this for so long, it doesn't take a lot of time or something like that.
Well, Allison, when you are listening to Bruce Baker and he said, and you get someone who says, some comment about price or something. And Bruce says to just smile and say, well, they're not for everyone.
Oh, yes, I remember that in particular.
I've heard that one from from a number of different sources.
Well, that one came from me. I was
professionals, not artists.
Yep, but I was at a workshop with Bruce back in early 80s, mid
early
80s.
60s.
He was just starting out. And I told him that one, and it was on his very first CD. I said, hey, when he put it on there, I said, hey, I want credit.
Wow, that's you. Okay, you really, okay.
Which one was I missed that. What did you tell him?
The smile and say they're not for everyone.
If somebody says if somebody says it's expensive, well, it's not for everyone.
Hey, I have a Bruceism that I say all the time.
No, but Bonnie said that she's the one who said it first.
I'm
Right.
the one that told
Well, maybe
Bruce.
somebody told him this, where they want to see something they've never seen before, or something they've seen in a way that they've never seen it before. The jurors.
Wait, I don't know what you're saying.
Okay. When you're picking pieces to show to the jurors. You want the jurors to see something they've never seen before, or see something they've seen before in a way they've never seen it.
Mhm.
Yep, that's good. But considering, he owned a jewelry store.
He still does.
Yeah, but he wasn't known for doing retail art fairs. So,
Right.
So I found his website. It's handmade-business-com.
It's the one, how to be a dynamic craft seller or something like that.
There's a bunch of stuff on here.
It was, one of his early, he does one on booths, but it's that one, how to sell. And I remember it doesn't say how to be a dynamic craftsman. He gender neutralizes it to make it inclusive for everyone. And yeah, so I was at a show once, and this couple was across from Eric and I, and they looked very dour and Eastern European, and I really liked them, and we started talking, and I said that I had this cassette tape. If you want to listen to it and come back to the show tomorrow, you can give it to me back. And the change from one day to the next was unbelievable. I said, this is propaganda. You might find it a little corny, but it will help you sell because it's really valuable information. And just the pivot from one day to the next was unbelievable.
oh, I love that.
So why don't
Yes.
we try to get Bruce in one of these Zoom meetings?
Positive reinforcement.
I haven't spoken to him in years.
I
Hi,
haven't
well,
either.
good to see you. See you next week.
All right.
See you.
Frank.
Bye, Frank.
But as Oscar also said, in your booth, you have to have a good attitude. If you're having a lousy show, and Bruce Baker even says this, right? It's like, well, how's your show going? And you could say great, because you're not sick. You're standing. I mean,
Because you're alive.
Yeah.
right. I mean,
Yeah, you're still breathing.
And
Sure.
yeah. So
A friend of mine,
sorry.
a
No,
friend
you
of
go
mine
ahead.
used to say, he was a jeweler, and he used to say, it is my best show ever. Barry, do you remember Richard?
Charterbiste?
No, Richard.
He's still around.
Yeah. Well, he's the one that said that.
That was our nickname for Ed Rizak. Best show ever.
Oh,
The thing is, you also have to be authentic in that. Like, it would
he was.
never work for me. I don't know. My
No,
personality is
I couldn't pull it off, but boy, he
I remember-
did. I believed him.
said,
Oh,
how
I-
long do you smile like? And it was like this, I felt like saying, fuck you, but, I said all day, I said, I'm very lucky that this is what I get to do.
That's
I-
good.
Not often, but some people could be very nasty. I mean, work is so expensive. No wonder your booth is.
I have another question. As things were
Yeah.
selling in my booth,
Because
I was filling it in with other pieces, and John said, maybe you should leave some holes so it looks like, you're sold and it's like you're almost selling out of things. What do
Wrong.
No,
No?
Never do that.
Okay.
you don't want people to think that you have been picked over and this is all
I think
you've
waiting
got.
tables. It's not one.
What about waiting tables?
I said that waiting tables was very useful because people say all kinds of things, and you just learn to let it roll over. And generally speaking, at craft fairs, people are nice, but there are always some people who just are not. And not always. I mean, but as far as letting things roll over, and just being cool about it and moving on because it's not personal, because they don't actually know you.
And then did you listen to any of the podcasts that Will and Douglas Silver put together?
Oh, I was listening and I kind of forgot about it. I need to get back on track.
Yeah, I was the season one from the season one, and I met some of the artists, and some of them I know myself, but that the first episode that they did, and I forgot the name of the artist, and he's a good friend now. He lives in Philadelphia, and that first episode changed my attitude in the booth completely.
Wow.
Because the story was that there was a guy having the worst show ever, and at the last day, at the last 50 minutes before closing the show, a guy started ranting about the most expensive piece that he has in the booth, and the customer asked him, "That you having a good show?" And he responded, "To be honest with you, I'm having a really bad show if you don't buy this piece." And then the guys didn't buy the piece because he said that to him. So since then,
Oh,
Oh no, you can't say that.
yeah,
Oh,
Feeling the sales technique of feeling sorry for me, so buy this, never works. It just turns people off.
yeah. So since then, I always going like I keep a good attitude, but I was just to listen to it because a lot of the things that they say is things that, in my case, I was thinking that I was dealing all the time by myself. I was the only one dealing with those things, and
but it's
make me feel better about it because I know I'm not the only one doing like that. And some of the people they interview are people that I respect a lot. So
there was
Uh,
one quip where like you're sitting down just to eat your lunch and you just want like 5-10 minutes of quiet, and another artist comes over and starts talking to you and doesn't understand that's your quiet time.
especially your jeweler,
Right.
and that's and Will always say it. If you get a jeweler next to you, ask them always, if you need me to wash your booth while you go to a bathroom break, or you want me to run and get you food, just let me know. Because
see,
most of the time, jewelers work by themselves, and they
You
don't have
don't,
to walk away.
he
that's
knows
just,
this now that he's married to a jeweler.
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
why.
standard. I do that. I don't care who's next to me or across from me. I tell everybody that's next to me. I tell them that.
Actually, Linda Court,
And if my
Linda was,
wife's with me, I mean, if my
she's great.
wife's with me, it's a given that she will go introduce herself to the people around us, especially if it's the person's there by themselves, and say, "Hey, I'm here with my husband. I will be glad to watch your booth if you need me to. Just come, let us know."
But what
And
she
people,
did, they weren't even near me, and it's a long story, but Eric was sick and back at the Airbnb, and so she said to me, and I don't need to leave my booth except to go to the bathroom, and so she said, "I'm coming to your booth every 2 hours," and it's like, so I knew I could drink water. It was just
Oh,
the best. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, I had a good experience this past weekend. John, who's with Annette, I was thinking, God, I'm really hungry, but I can't leave. And he comes over and he says, "You want me to get you something to eat?" And he did, and it was great.
Now
I
I
don't
will say on the other side. Oh, go ahead, Bonnie. Sorry.
I don't know that the people that help us out like that really know how much we appreciate it. I just,
Yeah.
I can thank them upside down and sideways, but you all can't know
Right.
how much it's appreciated by
Yeah.
someone that's there by themselves.
So, but on the counter, so Eric and I always offer our neighbors, um, help because there's two of us. But at one show, this artist she said, "Oh, I'm going to take a half hour." She took a half-hour lunch. We couldn't eat until like 1:30, 2:00. And that was that was too much, and we've actually learned to put up boundaries because some people actually take advantage of it and they'll go
Mhm.
shopping at the show or something like that.
Oh no. Oh, God.
because I mean, it's jewelry, it is nice to have a second person because I feel like I would lose sales if I can only handle one person at a time. You know, I could sort of take things out, but you have to have eyes all around your head. And so he's also selling. And although I am going to probably be doing a couple of shows, depending on what I get into in fall, summer and fall myself, because Eric is going back to school.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah. So
I don't remember what show it was, which show it was, but there was one show where we had the let's see, on one side of me, I think it might have been the plaza the last time I did it. We had several people around us that were there by themselves, and it was like my wife was having to make a schedule, you know, and
Oh,
tell
that's
people,
great.
okay, what time do you want me here? And well, I
That's
can't be here
great.
because I got to be somewhere else.
I love that.
Hey,
so
I
do they not? Sorry.
don't care what time they come.
That's
Just give me a pee break.
Right.
right. Yeah.
No,
Right.
I am not fussy and I'm really quick.
No,
Yeah. Right, because you want to be in your booth.
when we were in
Well,
Denver,
it's not about being in the booth. I don't want to upset my booth person.
Right.
I kind of told Linda, you know, Allison, you told Linda, well, I don't know. And I told Linda, I said, just set a timer and go over there in this amount of time and then just keep doing it. Because
But you know something, I adopted her. There was an artist at a show who was like going through chemo, and so I learned from Linda, and then both Eric and I went to this artist and said, you know, we're going to come by your booth like it was a smaller indoor show, like every hour and a half, see what you need. And like one time she just needed some hot water for tea, but she knew we were going to keep coming back, so I learned that from Linda.
Oh.
yeah.
Good deal.
But you'd be surprised that most people don't do that. You know,
Well,
I don't know. It seems most of the shows I've done, I guess I've been lucky. I've had very few neighbors at shows that were assholes. Most of them have been wonderful
Me too.
people.
Yeah, it's a rarity.
nobody asked me for help last weekend. And
Does
one of
happen.
them, there was no booth sitters in the Patty show. So who knows?
That crappy of a show and you didn't even get booth sitters?
Nope, no booth sitters.
Oh boy. I mean,
Well-
it's impossible to just, you know, I mean, everyone has to go pee.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the,
we
it's
don't
the only
have
thing
booth-
you have to do by yourself that you can't have somebody do for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
We
make
don't
that joke all the time in my booth.
We don't have booth sitters at our show. But you're welcome
Different.
to,
But you have neighbors.
but
It's
you're
intimate.
welcome to grab somebody as they walk by. You know.
It's an intimate setting.
Well, ACC, I don't know if they used to, but they don't have booth sitters,
No, they don't.
which
No.
is kind of crazy. And there's tons of jewelers at that show.
Yep.
And they put them all in one room, or they used to. Excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I don't like that. I prefer, because somebody might want to look at woodwork and then they discover this jewelry that they never would have known existed because it's not your stereotypical type of jewelry. And I prefer the mix because it allows for more serendipity.
Actually, it works in a wholesale setting. If you're a gallery and
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
so you're in the
Yeah,
you know, the jewelry area.
that I
So
could
you can-
see.
Yeah.
Annette, can you put a sign in your booth that says that the balls can be interchanged?
Yeah, I need to add signs. I just haven't done that. I know I need to.
Yeah.
I should say that there
I don't
were,
know.
you know, like I was gonna put like little words like wood and I don't know what else. I don't know, like fun little words on the walls, just like kind of scattered.
Good
just so
idea.
I liked how clean your booth was. No interference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could see the
I just-
work.
I want the things to fly out of there. So consequently, I'm going to overthink this for you.
Okay.
And
She's
then
good
you'll
at
You
sell
know
it
what?
to the- And then she'll
My
sell it to the guild.
suggestion was that she has more paintings in the booth, or some paintings.
No,
Yes,
Orange.
no, 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 no,
paintings
no.
are really, the paintings,
Well, I have one painting behind my wall where
yeah,
behind my little wing wall is my desk, and I have a painting
Yeah.
behind me because
that wasn't the place for that painting.
it's not a place.
Mm.
Well, everybody
well,
peeked around the
yeah.
wall. It's like they wanted to see what was behind the wall, and then it's just my desk. So I don't know.
Well, I think that's a good place if you want to hang a painting, but don't ruin the ambiance.
Yeah,
Of the-
keep it.
Keep it clean. Keep it, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have that much in my booth. Like, you go in some people's and it's just chock full of stuff.
Oh,
And-
no, you have plenty.
Drives me nuts.
You have plenty,
Okay.
evenly spaced.
Think gallery.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's two ways of
Mm.
selling. There's the mass selling where you just cram it with everything, and that's kind of the flea market look or the Walmart look. And then there's the gallery look, and it has different responses.
Okay.
You get more money with the gallery look.
Depends on what you're selling.
You can,
I,
yeah, you can ask more money with a gallery look.
well, it says
yeah.
it.
I'm
The
worth-
psychological thing is,
Yeah,
It lends itself to higher end pieces.
thank you. That's better.
that's true.
Hey, Annette, by the way, your advisor should be giving you a percentage back to you because you're such a great student. So because you're such a great student, they should be paying you for have the privilege of teaching.
That's like a class.
What did Oscar just say?
I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to start making something.
Did Oscar just say that we should pay Annette for giving her?
Yep.
That would be really nice. I gotta start sleeping in my van because the hotel is so expensive there. I gotta find a way to do it for cheaper. My expenses are lower.
What
No
ab-
shit.
what about Airbnbs? I
Oh
mean,
my God, our neighbor had an Airbnb and he had the worst story. I mean, it was like he pulled up to this house and the police pulled up right when he did, and they had like a on and it said parole on it. And they knocked on the door and the lady came out and her name was Karen and talked to him, and then because he'd already paid, he didn't have another place to stay, and then I guess they left, right?
Parole.
And then he went in and he thought he had his own like separate entrance, and it was just a bedroom in her home with a shared
Ooh.
bath with her. I know. And he showed us pictures and I was like, I couldn't have stayed there. I wouldn't have stayed.
I hope
No.
he complained. I hope he complained about that. I've been staying in Airbnbs for years and years and years, and that sounds like a hideous experience. But
Well, he complained because he said he thought she really needed the money. He was like really having compassion for her, and I'm like, oh, well, I mean, I just can't believe a woman would put a guy in her house that she doesn't know, just in the same house with you. It's kind of creepy to me, but
yeah, but on Airbnb, like you're supposed to tell them if it's afterwards during the survey, they ask you very pointed questions. Was there, like, if it's promised that there's a kitchen, was there a kitchen in it, or was there a separate room, or things like that? And
he said he didn't read it closely enough. He was like French and his English wasn't very good, and I think he just kind of read it. He said I didn't look at it carefully enough, so he felt it was his fault, so he had to stay there. But it was just kind of oh gosh, I was
if you go to VRBO, you're not staying in a place in somebody's home. It's a separate entity. That's one of
but
the
with
requirements.
Airbnb, they also have separate entities.
yeah.
I stay in condos or houses with Airbnb. And yes, there's VRBO. My only problem with VRBO is each contract is different. Airbnb is streamlined as far as your rights and their rights. They have different cancellation policies, but it's very clear what it is. You can easily look it up. With VRBO, you sign a contract, but each place you rent has a different type of contract. And there was a place I once decided not to rent because the contract was so vague that just from a legal standpoint, it seemed like if there was an earthquake, because this was in California, if there was an earthquake and something broke, you could be liable for it if you were to read into the contract. And so that's my, problem with Airbnb. Plus, other than that, it's fine. It tends to be more expensive though.
Yeah.
But with
I found
Airbnb,
Airbnb to be a lot more expensive than Verbo.
No, the other way around.
not in my experience.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
if you
now that Airbnb
oh,
keeps tacking on the huge fees.
Oh,
There's not
wow.
huge fees. Sometimes there's a $75 cleaning fee. There it may be a 20.
Everything I'm seeing about Airbnb everywhere is that because of what Bonnie was just saying, all the fees they're tacking on, it's cheaper to stay in a hotel.
yeah,
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, a hotel will charge you. I don't know what they charge for parking these days. I don't know, $20, $30 a night in a city, maybe more. So you add up your average night. Let's say you're staying somewhere for 5 nights. Just add up the two averages and see which is cheaper. And with Airbnbs, I like to have a kitchen and I save a lot of money on food. So, and usually parking is included. It's nothing is hidden. I mean, the fees are there, but they vary depending on the place you stay in.
and
I
then
looked at an Airbnb here in Michigan for a couple of nights, and the nights were maybe $239 each or something. But when it came to the total, they had added in $439 in extra fees. Plus,
Well, that sounds
you had,
high, but it's before you pay for it, you see all that.
yes, but then they also
Yes.
had all these rules on you had to clean certain things yourself, and it's like, wait a minute.
Well,
So obviously I
no,
didn't.
that sounds like a youth hostel. That sounds like a youth hostel where you have to clean things yourself.
It sounds like Kalamazoo. Actually, it sounds like Michigan.
It
Well,
was Michigan.
if you're going to do the staying in the band, talk to Carla Bank, Tanya Leslie, and Rona Cass. If you're going to ever do that route, before you even get to it, because those 3 do it. Carla doesn't do the band anymore because she got an A streamer. But if you're going to do that, talk to those 3 because they do stay in the band so all the time.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it, but I did talk to someone, the guy who makes lamps, I forgot his name, Will Richards, maybe, I don't know. But he said he always stays by a gym. He's like a member to a gym, and then he can go work out in the morning and take a shower.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's really smart.
talk to a woman, don't talk to a guy because it's totally different.
Yeah.
I don't think I can sleep in my car. I can't do that anymore, but yeah, I'm not really considering that. But well, we stayed right by St. Armand Circle. We were on the beach, and we walked. We could park the van. We could park there. We didn't have to pay extra parking, so it was nice to be able to walk. Be close enough to walk. So that's kind of why I did it. But now that I kind of know the layout, we might do something different again.
I used to stay at Wood Spring Suites. They're an extended stay hotel, and if you book a week, it's a lot cheaper. The rate drops per night, but even there, if you stayed less than a week, their rate wasn't that bad. But it was like staying in a college dorm room. I mean, you had a kitchen, but they're really, you had a full-size refrigerator and a couple burners, but nothing was fancy, and it was, $50 a night.
As long as it's clean. As long as it's clean.
It was clean. The floor was tile. The sheets on the bed were crap. The towels were crap. So I just started taking my own with me. But then they really jumped there. If you stayed less than a week, they like doubled their rates to like $80 a night, 70, $80 a night. And I said, no, it's not worth it. But I just booked an extended stay America for under $40 a night for a week in Oklahoma City. And
Wow.
when I
That's
booked
good.
less than a week, it was like $45 a night. So, and
That's great.
They look to be a little bit nicer than the extended stay. They can be a little iffy, or you can be around some kind of iffy people, because this is a lot of people use them as they get kicked out of one place and they need to go stay someplace cheap, so they'll go stay in one of these.
Right.
So it's not like going to an upscale hotel, but
Yeah,
there's
I don't
laundry.
think I could do that.
There's laundry facilities. You've got a kitchen. Some of them have ovens, some of them don't. But for doing art shows, it's really nice. And my full bill that they estimate with taxes and everything for my week stay in Oklahoma City is under $315.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely lowers your overhead. Well, oddly, in Park City, I haven't done the show in a long time, but I was on the wait list last year, and there's tons of condos there. And so I remember I got a studio condo with a full kitchen. I mean, they had 1 bedrooms and all of that, but it was, maybe like 70 a night, or, I mean, this is Park City also. I mean, but the whole total with the fees, I don't know, was less than $400 probably. Is that about right? Yeah.
For how many nights?
Probably, I'm guessing, well, let's see. So you arrive, set up, 3-day show. So it would have to be, is that 4 nights? So you arrive, set up, do the show, and then leave. So 4 nights.
I used to stay quite a few of the extended stays, not for a week, but for like a long weekend, for a 3-day show or something, and found that they worked really well. Now, yes, there were sometimes some sketchy people living there, but boy, they were great. So congratulations on finding such a good deal.
Well, and the other thing is, like Oscar, you're gone for, you're somewhere for a long time. They've got laundry rooms,
Yeah.
and this isn't like, a lot of hotels will say they have laundry and they'll have like 2 washers and dryers somewhere. This is more like a small laundromat. They've got 5 or 6 washers and, 3 or 4 dryers, and, it's not bad.
Yeah, because when you're in the road, you have to, like in this case, I know, like when I got to my friend Anita and Steve, I had to do all my laundry. And the 2 weeks before, I had to do laundry. So it's been like and I mean, everything has to get clean. The bed sheets and the band.
Well, no wonder you're not doing sales if you're waiting 3 weeks to do laundry.
Oh, I got close to 3 I came prepared to have enough 3 weeks with know how to do laundry. I'm a lazy boy.
You're not lazy. You work hard.
So
You serve them up like that, Oscar. I can't pass them up.
I know. I know. My own doing.
Yep.
So,
Okay,
this
guys. Oh, go ahead.
this morning I went out to take pictures, and it started really. The light was kind of crappy, and then suddenly, the fog got thicker and thicker and thicker, and I was jumping up and down because I got super excited.
For the fog?
Yeah, because it changed the whole lighting. It becomes a soft light early in the morning. You can barely see, even you focusing, everything looks out of focus. That looks really nice. So I'm dying to see those later on when I get. So.
When you get the film developed.
Oh.
That reminds me, one time when I One time when I was
Is
in
there a
Chicago.
drugstore near you, Oscar, to get your film developed?
Gino, no.
Go ahead, Allison. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. One time I was in Chicago and it was so foggy, walk like for Old Town or something, and walking along the lake, and you could, well, what you were describing, Oscar, anyway, you could hardly see, but it looked like there was some little sailboat on the lake, but it almost looked like a ghost because of the light, because you could, like, and it was far enough away, you couldn't quite make out if it was there for real or not.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
On Lake Michigan. Okay,
Mhm.
I don't know what time it is, but
5:30.
oh my
Bonnie,
goodness.
Before you
Okay.
go,
So,
Bonnie,
so
2:30.
Oscar, they sent out this, Bonita Springs sent out this whole diatribe full of baloney with maps and everything, but they don't tell you where your space is.
No, they tell you the day that you show up.
That's nonsense.
Oh. Is that the next show?
No.
It's a decent show for me.
When is that?
That is I already did the January show, and then the next one is the week after this one.
Yeah, it's not
Oh.
this weekend, but it's the weekend after.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's the only show you can actually, it's worth doing between 4 miles or whatever's going this weekend in Coconut Grove. So that's why that show gets a lot of application, because that's the only show you can do that's worth it if you don't want to do a Howard show. So it's more filler.
Bonnie, you're
I
on the
mean,
list. Parker's on the list.
Oh geez.
The Heckers are on the list.
What list?
I'm afraid.
What list is that?
Oh, my list.
Court's list.
Bonnie's
Uh-oh.
show?
Oh.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a fun group.
I am. Parker sent me a Cheez-Its Christmas ornament.
Oh,
Somewhere I bet, I don't think he found it, but I bet Kozo found it. Kozo found a Cheez-Its Christmas ornament. So they sent it to me. So I got even, but you're gonna have to wait until I get there to see.
oh, good.
It's
Good,
big.
good. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. And since
Well-
he typically shows up later in the day to set up, I'll have a chance to display it in his space.
Oh, and he has a big space. So
Does he have a double space?
yes,
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
It'll be fun.
Oh, good.
I have presents for you. I have something lined up for you. I'm still working on the Heckers though. But I'm wondering if February is too, if Easter's too far away.
It's not.
So, I may have to do a repeat on the Heckers and do Easter again.
Oh, I would do Easter again.
Well, I've gotten them twice for Easter. The last time I bought the eggs, and I bought a bunch of little cat toys, stuffed them in the eggs, and shipped them to them. Linda and I spent like half an hour stuffing cat toys in little plastic eggs. We like 4 dozen eggs.
Listen, I still have my little finger guy, my yellow.
I have a yellow and blue one, and when I moved, they came with me and they travel around with me to shows.
Well,
Yeah.
Bonnie, that's now become my thing at shows. I take those to every show with me now.
Oh,
And give them to my
excellent.
neighbors.
Excellent. Your neighbors are going to all love you.
So I let's see. I think it was the first year I did. That was the first year I did Cherry Creek. I gave a couple to Tanya, and I looked down, and here's Tanya laying out on her, laid back behind the booth, with finger puppets on 2 toes.
I love it.
So yeah,
Very good.
but yes, the list has started. The list may grow, but
Very good.
yep.
I will look forward to it.
Tell me that afterwards.
Oh, geez. Well, maybe I'll look forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to the show.
Me too. Gave you a nice booth, both of you.
I saw. Appreciated it.
Oh,
Good.
I may even do a fancy pair of shoes too.
Oh, you and Don, amen.
Yeah, I think.
And Alice?
I think we're sharing a room one night. The night we're there.
Oh, good.
So I got to double check with him. But yes,
Okay.
I asked him if I had to do fancy shoes, and he said no. But I think I have an idea for some. I have to see if I can pull off.
Well, good luck.
They won't be nearly as fancy as his, but you know.
But everybody's idea of fancy is different. All right.
You're just gonna have to take pictures.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Pictures will be taken. A lot more this year. Okay, guys, I'm leaving. I will see you all later.
Bye.
All
Okay.
right, see ya.
Bye.
I've got to go. I've got to go work on dinner.
Bye.
What's dinner today?
Dinner is something brand new.
Mm-hmm.
It is a recipe from Ghana called Red Red.
Okay.
It is
what's
Chicken?
black-eyed peas with tomato.
That sounds good.
It's kind of but it's called Red Red. But red because of the tomatoes and red because it uses red palm oil.
Oh,
Nice.
that's interesting.
Somebody
I
was
went to
talking
Whole
about it
Foods.
somebody was talking about it on Twitter. I like black-eyed peas, so I found a recipe and thought, I'll make it. So
I just came across.
You can either
Go ahead.
use canned black-eyed peas or dried black-eyed peas. And I just got done cooking. That's why I was late. I was cooking the dried black-eyed peas, and they're done now.
I just came across your braised short rib recipe the other day, and I thought that's what Eric should make for me for my birthday with the coffee.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
That is
thank you.
really good.
Yeah.
You made that before, right?
Right. Yeah. Eric did, but yes, it was
So
delicious.
I forget when the Moist announced the result.
When does what?
The Moist.
Oh, a while from now.
Des Moines,
Wow.
end of June. Oh, when do we find out?
Yeah.
Thursday.
Really? That's
This
soon?
Thursday.
Yeah. Did anybody get into? I think it's Thursday. Did anybody get into Cherry Creek here?
I did.
I missed the deadline and didn't apply.
Want me to remind you next year?
No, I'll be more. The last couple years have been such a. Yeah. Now, by next year, I'll either have everything together to apply, or I won't need to worry about it. So, don't know what it'll be, but so.
I apply to everything usually right away, and I just use all the same images. So, it's like hopefully okay. We'll see.
Yeah. I did not get in Brookside, which was to be. I kind of had hopes. I hadn't applied for a couple years, and I had some new images, and
I did get into Brook.
What's that?
I didn't get into it neither Cherry Creek or Brookside, but I'm not in shock. And today I sent an email to South Lake because I'm doing Fiesta, and I told her, I'm doing San Antonio Fiesta. If an opening happens, can you please let me know because I'm going to be in my way up. and I would like to, because I'm in the wait list, because it's kind of crazy just to go to Texas just for one show.
Right.
Depends on the show.
I've got to pull stuff together. I'm considering applying to Armadillo.
Is that the one that's like 10 days?
Yeah, that runs right up to Christmas in Austin.
Yeah, Amy Flynn did it this year, I think, for the first time. And I haven't talked to her personally, but I think they were very happy with it for sure. Different medium.
They always
early court, because the earlier you apply, the better chance you have. I went down, a friend of mine was there, and I walked the show with Bruce, the guy that runs it. He's trying to turn it over to his niece, but and be prepared because you have to have an interview.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm good. That's on my list of stuff to do in the next week or so.
Listen, SAP or not?
No.
Their own personal website.
It's their own. It's not through anybody else. It's through their website.
It's
sounds
it's really cool though. You should go to their website. If you've ever been to the show, they turn out, it's an inside show, but they turn out all the house lights, and the only lights that are on are in the booth.
Yeah, I've seen photos, and you know, the hackers rave about it. So
yeah.
And
yeah, I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. They really, when I talked to them a few weeks ago, they really told me, they really pushed me, said I should try it. So
the Baileys to apply to the show last time I saw them, and then I should really apply them, and they told me that they would put a word for me. So I will ask John to say something about you also, Court. So,
yeah,
I will.
It does help if you know somebody that's already in the show. That is one of the questions they ask on the application. And they will talk to that person, because after I walked the show with Bruce, he went and talked to my friend Cindy that was there. So, and she reported back. So my fingers are crossed.
Actually, I know 2 or 3 people that do that show.
Yeah.
So, and I glanced at the application. I didn't fill it out, but I glanced at it and thought, I need to come back and do this. And now that you're telling me that the earlier I apply, the better, I will move that up my list of things to do to try and get it done sooner rather than, in a couple months.
Yeah, because they look at the applications in the order that they come in.
Yeah.
When is it?
It's like
December,
the 18th of December, and it runs a week, I think, like through the 23rd, like the 17th of December to the 23rd or something like that.
Now this year it ended early. Previous years, the Heckers, it is run until Christmas Eve. It is run for like the 14th through the 24th.
Yeah, but I think now they're going to always, from what he said, they're always going to end it on the 23rd. You can go back in on the 24th and pull your booth down if you don't want to do it after the show, because I don't think it ends till like 8 o'clock. But, or the day after Christmas, I think it is, because, they're getting older and they like to
go to sleep early.
Yeah, well, not just that, but I think he's got some health issues. That's the reason he's trying to turn it over to his niece. But they go around to the shows in Texas and talk to artists and decide who they're going to invite. That's how my friend got invited. They saw her at a show in the Hill Country and said, please apply. She got in just a month before the show, which pushed her to make more work.
Something to keep in mind.
Yeah, she did well. So it's expensive to do, but she said she did great.
Well, guys,
do you know what the booth fee is?
I'm going to tell you it's close to $2,000. But Fort Worth is $980 now or something like that. I think.
Oh yeah, that for a 10-day show, that's not unreasonable at all.
No, expect to sell though some smaller stuff, right? Because people are buying
holiday
stuff too, right?
Yeah, that was a conversation I had with John and Pat about, and the reason I hadn't pursued it before was they have a lot of stuff that's kind of smaller and does well as a Christmas gift. And I mentioned that to them specifically, and they said, you know, if our sales are about 1/3 people buying stuff for Christmas gifts and about 2/3 people buying stuff for themselves. So don't
limit
think
yourself.
about that, you know, if you don't have a lot of stuff in a certain price range that, you know, make good gifts, you know, because that's not a lot of yes, that is a large part of the sales, but you know, a larger part of the sales is people buying stuff for themselves.
Yeah, and I will tell you that I was there on a Wednesday afternoon, and there was a line of people waiting to get in the show. It's, you know, $12 a piece for people to get in there, and they had no problems. The parking garage was full, and there was probably 6 or 8 people in front of us to buy tickets.
I almost went down this year because I was in outside Fort Worth for Christmas a few days before Christmas.
In Granbury?
Near Granbury.
Yeah, because that's where I met you.
In Weatherford.
Ah, okay.
My mom lives in Weatherford now.
Okay.
So I was in Weatherford, and we hadn't seen John and Pat for a while, and my wife, you know, I thought about going down, but it ended a day early, and you know, it was a couple hour drive down there, and I just like, nah, this isn't gonna fit in with all the family stuff.
Yeah, well, that was also the time that the weather moved into Texas, where we had like 40-mile-an-hour winds. So, and
Yeah.
it was freezing like it is today. But all right.
Yeah, you got all the rain that we met. You got all the freezing stuff that we missed.
Who's trying to leave?
We're under an ice. We're under an ice storm right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's the only reason I was able to call in is because I'm, you know, normally still at the office now, and I'm technically at the office. My work computer is still open, so not answering emails. So and doing work in between chatting. So anyway, all right. But I am gonna log off so that I can actually get back to some people with some stuff. You guys have a great day.
Yeah, guys, this has gone almost 2 hours.
Oh, boy.
All right, I'm gonna take off as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
All right.
Larry, you doing all right?
Yeah. Yeah, I started PT last night.
Oh, good. Good. Seems like you're just moving along.
Yeah, he figures it's going to take 2 to 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts.
Oh, well, that sucks. That really sucks.
I got a $110 thumb brace. Well, that's the price on Amazon. Who knows what they're going to charge my insurance for it?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well, all right.
All
You
right.
take care.
See you
Bye.
next week.